الذي خلق من الماء بشرا فجعله نسبا وصهرا وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن سيدنا ومولانا ونبينا وحبيبنا محمدا صلى الله عليه وسلم نبيه وعبده بلغ الرسالة وأدى الأمانة ونصح الأمة وكشف الغمة وجاهد في الله حق جهاده حتى أتاه اليقين فصلوات الله وسلامه عليه وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. My dear respected brothers and sisters in Islam, I bear witness that there is no God worthy of worship except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And I bear witness that Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is his prophet and messenger. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, هو الذي خلق من الماء بشرا فجعله نسبا وصهرا وكان ربك قديرا. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one who created from liquid, from water. He created the human beings and then he made them where they would marry each other. They would be related through marriage. Nasaban wa sihra. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is able to do whatever he wants. Last month I started talking about how to choose a spouse according to the ways of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam and according to the experiences that we have seen and learned through the years of other scholars and what alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen came to us. So last time I spoke and I said that it's very important. Yes, you might be older than going back to marriage now. Yes, your children might be getting married today and you need this information to guide them. Your friends might need that guidance. Your grandchildren might need that guidance for some of us. Subhanallah. So it's a knowledge that I hope everybody will take, understand, take the best of it, at least the parts where Rasulullah ﷺ said or did, and then take it to their friends and their family and share it with them. That's how we become a da'iyah. That's how we do the job of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, بَلِّغُوا عَنِّي وَلَوْ آيَةً. So you should inform the people about the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, even if all what you know is one ayah. So last time I spoke about the one thing that you cannot live without. When you choose a spouse, there is one thing that you cannot live without. This is the most important thing. It will make your life happy or miserable. So you make sure you do not marry anybody unless they have that quality. And we mentioned the story of Fatima bint Qais radiallahu anha, and the story of Kulthum bint Abu Bakr when she refused, even Umar ibn Khattab radiallahu anhu, she refused him, and she said, what he has in his mind, the way he wants to live is not the way I want to live. This man is all about taking care of the citizens. I am all about somebody that would love me. So she had something in mind that was not in that person, was not in Umar ibn Khattab, so she refused. But she took and she married Talha ibn Ubaydillah, another great Sahabi, but he had what she wanted. So there's one quality, we said, it might be haya, it might be that whatever it is that you want, or the person that looking for marriage is looking for, that is one thing that would make his life happy or miserable. Do not go into marriage without that. Today, inshallah, I will talk about two questions. The first one is what we call in Arabic al-kafa'a, which is the best translation probably I can find is compatibility. The husband and wife being compatible to each other so they can get married. Or equal is not the correct exact translation. Compatibility looks better. And the second question is a question that we always hear. Where, how can I find a spouse? Whether from the girls or from the guys. And the strangest thing you find in all our communities, there's so many guys and there's so many girls, but nobody can find a husband, or nobody can find a wife. And you wonder how that happens. Inshallah, both of these matters I will tackle today, as much as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give us the opportunity and the knowledge to deliver, inshallah, this information. So bear with me. It looks like a workshop, but it's something that's very important. That's why we always mention, even in the khutbah, this is not the full version. This is the version that would work with the khutbah. So compatibility, the scholars were very particular, especially Imam Malik, radiallahu anhu, he put it as a condition. Imam Abu Hanifa put it as a condition in some aspects, especially when the woman has been marries herself without the approval of her father, then he says there should, one of the conditions that he put in was compatibility. What is compatibility? The scholars put more than one aspect of that. So I will go, inshallah, through some of those. The first thing that we cannot stay away from is hadith Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam that تنكح المرأة لأربع. People, when they go to get married, they look at four things. Normally, it's four things: beauty, money, family, and the deen. And subhanAllah, Rasulullah sallallahu put it at last as if he's saying this is the last thing we actually look for. For a simple reason. Deen is something that you have to get close to know if that person has it or doesn't have it. So people ask, how would I know? Listen to what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah An-Nur, ayah 26. الطيبون للطيبات. Subhanallah. A lot of people think, alhamdulillah, she's a good person, she's a pure person, she is innocent, so that is telling that I am also like that. Wrong. The fact is, this is an order from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He's telling us, if you have somebody that's innocent, that doesn't always plot, that doesn't always think about the meaning of what you're saying, that doesn't always put meanings in what he says, then you make sure his spouse is the same way. So it's an order from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You have tayyib, you give him tayyibah. You have tayyibah, you choose a tayyib for her. وَالْخَبِيثُونَ لِلْخَبِيثَاتِ. Some people are not pure. They always have a meaning for what they say. They always look for a meaning in the sentences that you get. Those people, they can get together too. Otherwise, life is not going to be happy. It's going to be hard for that tayyib person. Very hard, actually. So how do I know that the person is actually does have deen? Like I said, you have to get closer. The person that has deen, it's simple. When he is told that this is the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you find him commit to that way. So how do I know how much of deen does he have? How fast does he comply with the order of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that he have learned, or she have learned? So those are the three things about the deen. The first thing is an order that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala orders us to give the innocent, the pure person to the pure person. The second one is when they know that this is the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, do they commit to it or they do not? Do they abide to it or they do not? And the third thing is, if you want to know the level of the deen, see how fast they are to comply with that order. So that's the first thing, the most important thing. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, I might have given this example last time. If you have, out of these four, you have the deen, then you can write a number 1 on your paper. And then all the other stuff, like the beauty, you put another 0, you get a 10. You have the good family, you could put another 0, that's 100. You have the money, then you put another 0, or the beauty, you put another 0, you get 1,000. But if you take that 1 out, the deen, you'd be left out with nothing but zeros. Something of no value. Why? Because that is the driving force. That's the driving force for anybody. His beliefs, what he has in his heart, is what drives him to do whatever he's doing. Being good, being bad, doing the good or doing the bad. So the first thing that we look at, that the scholars looked at, is the deen. How is the level of that deen? If some person is extremely religious and somebody doesn't even pray, this is a big difference. He'll be looking to go out and she's making him late because she's praying. He's planning in a way, and it doesn't work because there is some ibadah that has to be done. She is not fasting, and he is fasting, and she has all this food prepared. That's where problems come. The level of deen. There is a level that you cannot go under. I mean, beyond that, then you have a problem. Now, saying all of that, the last point that I will come to, and I will tell you about it today, first, is we have to be realistic. None of what I'm talking about today, you can get 100% of. Okay? So, it's a percentage-wise. And we'll see, inshallah, how we look at that. So the first thing is the deen. The second thing, and the most important thing, even for people that are not Muslims, is what the scholars, sociologists said, the level, the social level that they live in. The kind of social level they're in. Because if somebody, you go into Aladdin, a lot of us probably have seen it with our children, and then you have this thief that wants to marry a princess. But the king already has set the rule. Whoever wants to marry this princess has to be either a prince or the son of Shahbandar al-Tujjar, the best of merchant, or the leader of merchant. Is that right? Or is the Aladdin virgin right? Of course, according to Islam, the king was right. It's not about the money. Not only about the money, let me say. But it's about the social status. When you put a woman with a man that is much lower than her, then eventually, if not today, but eventually, and not too far from the day they get married, she will make him feel that she's better. Subhanallah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have created a difference. He have created a difference. Men and women are different. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, الرجال قوامون على النساء بما فضل الله به بعضهم على بعض. And this is the only phrase that I want to talk about. بما فضل الله به بعضهم على بعض. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made women better than men in some aspects. And He made men better than women in other aspects, different aspects. So they both can do their job at best. That doesn't mean one of them is better than the other. And nisa'u shaqa'iq al-rijal. They have half of the shara' and half of the rights. Yet, Allah have, for the job to be done right, Allah have made each one of us in a different way. Women have more passion. They have more feelings. That's why they're able to take care of their kids, their families, and put up with the husbands. It's not easy, by the way. Listen to the sisters and they'll tell you, it's not easy to put up with husbands. They give orders. They want them to do and act in a way that they have not been usually dealing with their parents. So, but the passion makes it easier. Men, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have given them a brain that they can put up all their passion away and decide only with their brains. So does that make him better? In some aspects, when you have to make a decision, yes. But when taking care of the family, no. The women are superior in there. That's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made the men in control. قوامون. And we'll talk inshallah in a different khutbah about this قوامون and what exactly does it mean. But when women have all that passion, and they think with their brains and passion influence it, then once she sees that she's in a better level of any kind, she will always make her husband feel, most of the time, she will make him feel that she is better, and she could have done better. Subhanallah. And the one most important thing for the husband, for the marriage to last, is for the husband to feel that he is appreciated, that he, the husband, in his wife's eyes, is good enough for her. And if he doesn't feel that, he will make her suffer most of the time. unfortunately. But he will make her suffer, and she will feel that. Because some people, most people, instead of bettering themselves, reforming whatever their status in, and go better, what they try is to pull the other person down. And that's what most people do. Not only husbands, but most people do when they have inferiority problems. That they think the person in front of them is better than them. Some people tend to go to school and study and be better and improve in manners. Most people try to pull other people down. And eventually we have problems, marriage problems that we've seen so many times. So Imam al-Ghazali, rahmatullahi alayh, he said when you go to choose a wife that is less than you in all these aspects of kafa'ah, of compatibility, except of course the beauty. Why? Because of this point. Because you don't want her to think that she could have done better. And then you would not be just to her. Another aspect, so we spoke about the deen, we spoke about the social level, which is the most important. Another aspect is age. And a lot of people come to ask, what age is suitable? What age is not? But then Rasulullah ﷺ married a woman that is 15 years older than him. So that's okay, right? No. Rasulullah ﷺ had a specific reasoning for every one of his marriages. You stay away from that, because if you go in, you will have a lot of lessons, yes, but you have to go into details. And the khutbah, of course, is not the time for it. But that's for Rasulullah ﷺ. But let's see what Rasulullah ﷺ did, actually, when Fatima radiallahu anha was married. Abu Bakr as-Siddiq comes to Rasulullah ﷺ, and he says, Ya Rasulullah, I would like to marry Fatima. What does Rasulullah ﷺ say in the hadith? إنها صغيرة, young. Okay. Umar al-Khattab comes, he's 5 years younger than him. Rasulullah ﷺ says, إنها صغيرة. Again, she's still young. And then not too long after that, Ali ibn Abi Talib, in a beautiful story, and he is full of haya, he comes and sits in front of Rasulullah ﷺ, and he cannot even say it. And then Rasulullah ﷺ asks him, are you here to ask me for the hand of Fatima? He says, yes, Ya Rasulullah, that's what I came for. And he approves. And he wondered, didn't he tell Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, which is absolutely better than Ali ibn Abi Talib, according to all the scholars of the Sunnah? Abu Bakr as-Siddiq is the best man after the prophets that walked on earth. But the Rasulullah told him she's young. She's not young to get married. She is young for you, Abu Bakr. That's what the Rasulullah is telling us. Ali ibn Abi Talib was about 7 years older than her. So she is not young for him. She is young for Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, was much older than her. But the Rasulullah was a nice person. He didn't tell him you are too old for her. He just said she is young. So when we get married, we should look into this age. And a lot of people ask, which is the best age? I can't tell you, because each community, each society is different. Some people are okay with big difference. And then when it depends also on the age of the bride. But if they are still in the young stages, in the 20s, if the girl is in her 20s, you know, you probably want to take what Rasulullah ﷺ did. Within 7 years, it's good. But for sure, what we have seen with the problems that come to us, that if it's not the same generation, which is this 10 years, in most societies, at least in the most of these societies that I've dealt with, it doesn't make it easy. That doesn't mean that marriages are not, all of them are not happy. No, a lot of them are extremely happy. One of them is my teacher, my sheikh, 15 years older than his wife, and they're extremely living happy. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. But this is my sheikh. He's an exceptional case. I think he's an exceptional sheikh. And all of these marriages that have more than 10 years and they're still going good, they are exceptional. And they last. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. But we've always heard still some complaints from the woman because of that age. I'm just telling you. Try to be in the same age group within that 10 years. Wallahu a'lam. The third thing, or the fourth thing, is the educational and intellectual level. You cannot bring somebody that has his PhD, or even just went to college and finished his BS or BA degree, and then give him somebody that has not been educated, did not finish even high school, or maybe just finished high school. What are they going to talk about? Sometimes, and we're not talking about exceptions, sometimes there's exceptions. There's a person that reads so much, so he has more knowledge than people that have been to universities. But those are exceptions. The rule is, and you should look for them. And when you want to make an exception, you look for this exception, that this person is educated himself. But the rule is, you should get people that went to university closer to each other. I mean, somebody could have a BS degree and the other one is master's, it's okay. But somebody without education, college education, and the other with college education, it becomes harder. So that's another aspect that the scholars spoke about. Another one in the hadith, لمالها, the money. And we spoke a little bit about this last time, but then money. Does it make a difference? Big difference. When the princess comes from her father's house, and she's used to having people serve her, and people cook for her, and people wash her clothes, and these days iron them, and so on. And then she comes to her husband's house, and he is poor, and he cannot provide any of this, problems start happening. I remember a story when the husband worked so hard, because they can hardly afford to live, but he worked so hard and saved so hard, and then he bought something that he thought that's very special for his wife. So he brought that thing to his wife, and when he came back from work the next day, he asked, "Did you like it?" He said, No, I just gave it to my friend. And that made a problem. So that's some of the things that will make a problem because of the money. Other than the problem that Fatima bint Qais had in that hadith, that's why Rasulullah told her to come back to him. So one more point in that hadith, beauty. لجمالها. Rasulullah said people marry for the beauty. Should we even consider beauty? Of course. But beauty, like they say in English, is in the eye of the beholder. What you see beautiful, I might not see beautiful. What sees 70% beautiful, I might see 100% beautiful. It depends on the husband, the person that's getting married. It depends on the wife. Do they like what they see? Do they think that this is mashallah? Then they go for it. But if they think that she is not that beautiful, he's not that good looking, then you probably should look somewhere else. Because one of the purposes of marriage is to protect yourself and your private parts from going to zina wal iyadhu billah. And if you like what you see in your husband, in your wife, then that will help you protect. And Rasulullah ﷺ told Al-Mughira ibn Shu'bah, he told him, when he go and look at her, go sit and look at her in her face. So that will make it easier for you to get married. It will make it easier for you to make a decision. So the first thing is, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. The second thing is, don't ever forget, the beauty of the face can change, but the beauty of the heart and inner self will never change. That will stay. So that's more important. Subhanallah. The other thing is, if that person, if the spouse thinks that he's so beautiful, we come back to the same problem, that they think, I could have done better. I spoke to a person once, we had a problem in the old city that I used to live in, and he said, I think my wife doesn't like me because she could have done better. I've seen a wife that said, my husband thinks he could have done better, and that's why we have a problem. So that's very important to look at. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us from those who follow the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when we choose the husbands for ourselves, for our children, and when we give the advice to everybody else. ادعوا الله وأنتم موقنون بالإجابة. بسم الله والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه. سبحان الله. How to get a spouse, a good spouse for your son, a good spouse for yourself, a good husband, a good wife, and so on. The first thing is, you have to be what you want your son-in-law to be. You have to be what your wife wants her to be. You have to be what you want your husband to be. Because like they say, birds of feather fly together. الطيور على أشكالها تقع in the Arabic language. You really want somebody that is like you? That's how it's going to be. One of my students once told me, I want a bride that has this and this and this and that. I said, are you there yet? Because if you're not, you probably want to hold off until you improve yourself to those points that you're talking about in your bride before you go and look for one. Because that's what you're going to find. So that's the first thing. The second thing is, we need social relations. We need to start knocking at the doors, or you could call too. And go visit each other. I remember when we were kids, we had so many visitors at the house, 3-4 times a week. Now it's once every 3-4 months that somebody knocks at the door and comes into the house. What's going on? What's happening? And we used to see each other 5 times a day in the masjid. Now we are at work. If we're lucky, we'll be here at Fajr. If we're decent, we'll be here for Isha. And what else? Nothing. How are people going to know you? How are people going to like you and love you and then ask for your daughter or come through the son and so on? So we need to have better relations, more. Open up. Tell people to come. Invite them to your house. Insist to give you a specific date and time. That's the only way I found in Canada that works. Insist on a specific date and time. Come and visit me. I'm free, please. I would like to have you in my house. And that's, inshallah, how it will start. As many people as you know, as more opportunities that you open for yourself and your children to have husbands and wives, inshallah. Another point is, we need to make sure that all our youth would marry a Muslim woman, not a non-Muslim. I understand. You know, to marry somebody from Ahlul Kitab is okay in Islam, even though in North America we have a problem with the kids becoming non-Muslims. But for every non-Muslim woman that is married to a Muslim man, there is a Muslim sister that is staying in the house without marriage. And that's the way to make sure that this sister doesn't stay because of you. We make sure you marry somebody that is a Muslim. And the closer they are to you in tradition, the better chances that this marriage will last, which is the purpose of marriage in Islam, for it to last. And I'm not saying this for people that have already gotten married. So if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have tested you and you got married to somebody that's not a Muslim, that's a Christian or a Jew here in this country, you've already in it. Make it work. But I'm telling this to people who did not go into this experience yet. Those people, after you get married, after you get your children, you will know what kind of mistake you have made. And the last point, which I told you I will talk about, is all of these things are not 100%. It will never happen that you will have somebody 100% in deen, 100% in their manners, 100% in their social status, 100% in their money, 100% in their looks. It will never happen. We've already said there's one thing, one item, one quality that you cannot live without. That it has to be there. Everything else is a percentage. Number one, you look at yourself, where's your percentage? And then ask for somebody. And number two is, where can I take? Lower your standard a little bit. Yes, you might be at this standard, but sometimes you have to lower it a little bit. When the girl is still 17, 18 years old, you might have a high standard, but as she getting older, you lower your standard. If you don't lower it fast enough, you will miss the chance. Especially our sisters, because guys can always find somebody. Most of the time they can find somebody even if they go older. But for the sisters, that will be a time that is missed. So make sure you are realistic in the conditions that you put in. And make sure that it is to the percentage that you are up to. You are at that percentage or percentage that you can live with. It doesn't have to be high in the 90s or the 80s. It could be anywhere from 50 and up in some of these aspects. والله أعلم. اللهم أصلح لنا أزواجنا وأولادنا وبناتنا وارزقنا العفة والطهارة وحسن الطبع. اللهم إنا نسألك الهدى والتقى والعفاف والغنى. اللهم أصلح لنا ديننا الذي هو عصمة أمرنا، وأصلح لنا دنيانا التي فيها معاشنا، وأصلح لنا آخرتنا التي إليها معادنا. إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. اللهم صل وسلم وزد ودم وبارك على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. أقم الصلاة.